Welcome everyone to the Maybe Kitchen, and we will be making a very simple, very easy to do colonial recipe here. It's something that humans have made for not just centuries but millennia, and it's something that you can do today in your own home, as long as you know how. I'm going to show you how, right? Today we will be making butter, and the Maybes knew a lot about making butter because, of course, the Maybes had cows. You can get a lot of different things from cows. You can get meat from cows. But most importantly, you can actually get butter, or milk, or cheese, all those dairy products, right? Because you can only eat a cow once, but you can milk a cow, well, many times. So the Maybes could make some nice butters or cheeses to complement their diet of mostly bread, right? You eat too much bread just by itself. You don't want that. You want something a little bit, a little bit nicer to spice up your palate, or spice up your diet. So butter making would be a chore for one of the kids to do, or maybe several of the kids would pitch in. I always like to think of Abraham Maybe. He was about 10 years old in 1705, and that's a good age for starting the butter making process. And of course, how does that start? Well, you have to go on out to the barn every day at the crack of dawn. It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or terrible weather outside, you gotta go. You gotta take care of your cows. You have to clean their stalls. You have to feed them. You have to make sure they're doing good, they're healthy. And most importantly, you have to milk your dairy cows. So Abraham would milk the cows. He would take that milk and he'd bring it back to the house and maybe pass this off to his little sister Maria. She was only 5 years old at the time, but that's a good butter making age because she can take that milk and she can put it into something like this. This is called a crock. It's just a large clay vessel. A large clay vessel. There's nothing fancy inside, but because it has this nice glazed clay, this fired clay, it's a very good insulator. It keeps things, relatively cool. So she would keep the milk in this container. Gotta put it down now. For about 24 hours, a whole day. And, well, what the milk would do at that time, over the 24 hours, is it would separate based on different densities. See, there's a lot of different things in that milk, and those different things will separate out the less dense things, which are the fatty molecules inside the milk that are just naturally there. They rise up to the top. And then heavier liquid watery molecules, they start sinking down to the bottom. So after a day, you can see a very clear line, a divider line between what we call on the top is cream, and then down below we have skimmed milk, because Maria, she could take a little spoon and she could just skim that cream right off the top, right? She's skimming the milk. And that cream is the only ingredient you need to make butter. You don't need whole milk, you don't need anything else, just a little bit of cream. Now, we took the easy way out. We don't have any cows, so we just got our heavy cream from Stewart's today. Other vendors are available, unless, so, we're going to take this cream right here, and we are going to use, just got to open that up. We're going to use this butter churn right here. Now, this is not a colonial butter churn, but in fact, I have the colonial butter churn right to my left here. I guess it'd be my right from your perspective. So I'll put that in there. So we're using this one. Maria would have to use this one. Now this is what we call a plunger churner, because if you open it up, there's an empty wooden container here. And then we have this plunger here, this paddle, which would go up and down, up and down, up and down. So if she puts her cream into this vessel, and then she would churn it like this. And what this does is, this plunger here is whipping up all of the fat molecules in the cream. And the more it whips them up, it physically gets them to stick together more and more and more. They start sticking together and sticking together and sticking together. And so while you put a liquid into this, after a while, you're going to get a solid out of it. And that's what the butter is. It's the solid thing that's created from whipping up the heavy cream. The thing about this model, though, the reason why I'm not using this one today, is because this takes a long time. It would probably take poor Maria about 6 hours to make butter in an old-fashioned model like this. So we're not using this today. using something, well, similar to this. This is also an older version of what we're doing today. This is what we call a paddle churner because it has these paddles in here instead of a plunger. And what this does is it uses simple machines to make our job here a little bit easier. Because what I can do is I can hold this crank here, or this is a wheel and axle here, and this is a lever, so that when I turn this crank, it turns those paddles, and you see just how quickly those paddles would start whipping up whatever is inside here. And that is what's going to, again, get those fatty molecules to stick together, and it's going to get the butter to form. So we're using this version just because this is dishwasher safe. We just got this version off of Amazon. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're just whipping up the cream until it becomes butter. And even though this doesn't take 6 hours, it also is not instant. It's not an instant process. It takes a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of hard work to get this to come to fruition. And this is the part where I really like having you kids here to do all this work for me. Yeah, so I skipped ahead a little bit here because you probably don't want to watch me churn this butter for about 10 minutes. That's how long it's actually going to take. My colleague Mary actually steps in here to help me out with the churning process. But eventually, you get to a point where the cream will start to thicken. It almost happens all at once, as if some kind of switch is flipped. The color starts to turn yellowish, and it all just starts to solidify. That's when you know you're almost done. Let's take a look at our progress thus far. So yeah, great. You can see there's definitely a change taking place here, but it's not quite at the butter stage. We'll have to do a little more work to get there. So I'll step back in and do the last couple of churns. You'll know you're done when a new liquid starts to appear. So as you can see, we have a liquid and a solid in this jar here. Now the solid, of course, is our butter. I've been saying that all along. But the liquid, that is a different type of liquid, a certain type of milk. It's a milk that you get when you're making butter. And some very creative person decided to call that buttermilk. Now, you certainly don't want to waste that buttermilk, but you can't leave it in with the butter. And that's because the buttermilk is going to go sour faster than the butter would. So to leave it in there, you're just going to end up ruining all of your butter. So I'm going to pour that buttermilk out. Look at that right there. Just pour that out. And you can see the butter's in there. That's the good stuff. Now, this buttermilk is still very valuable. We don't want to throw this buttermilk out. What could we do with it? Well, we could just drink it if we wanted to, but I think I have another idea. I think we could take this buttermilk and whip it up into some buttermilk waffles or pancakes. You can use this stuff for baking. It has a lot of different uses, so I would highly recommend you don't throw this away. Even though we can pour most of it off, there's still some buttermilk left trapped inside the butter. So what we're going to do is work and press our butter and try to squeeze all of that buttermilk out as if you were squeezing a sponge. As you can see, it's just a small quantity of buttermilk, but even this small amount could spoil the rest of our butter. So it's important you do this step, unless you're going to eat all of your butter immediately. And lastly, we will wash our butter just by pouring some water over it as we continue to press and work our butter. This should remove the rest of the buttermilk as well as any dust or anything that may have gotten in there. We'll just wash that out. This watery mixture is not really good for human consumption. It doesn't really taste that good, and you can't use it to bake. We also don't have a sink in the Maybe kitchen, so instead we'll simply toss this stuff out the window. In the colonial period, this wouldn't really be going to waste. It would just be going to a trough where all of the animals, like the pigs or the goats, could come, and they would eat it. With all that done, our butter should be ready to go. With a little taste test, well, it tastes pretty good. One major difference between this butter and the butter you might get from the store is that most store-bought butters are salted. Salt was a pretty hard thing to come by in the colonial period. So instead, we've made what is known as sweet or unsalted butter. If you would like to try this recipe at home, as I said before, there really is just one ingredient, and that's heavy cream. If you don't have a butter churn of your own, you could technically order one, but you don't even need to do that. All you need is a sealable container, like a mason jar. You add the heavy cream to it. Make sure the jar is sealed and then start to shake. Shake the heavy cream as hard as you can for as long as you can. That will also agitate the fatty molecules and eventually they will start to stick together. And you'll see the same thing that we saw in this video. It just might take a little bit longer. Other than that, all the other steps apply and you'll have your very own homemade butter. It's a pretty simple recipe, but this is one taste of the colonial world that you can make right at home.